Hello and welcome to a new video. This time I'm doing something a little bit different than I've done in any of the other videos I've recorded. Instead of being on an e-bike or a motorcycle or something like that, I'm inside a car. So I am going around because it is snowing. And you know, it's still relatively early into November, less than 2 weeks after Halloween ended, and it's snowing. So I figured I'd drive around some neighborhoods where it's snowing and see what it looks like. Now, it had been so, warm and hadn't been below freezing recently that, at this point, I don't think there's that much risk of anything really freezing over and being all that hazardous. But, it's cold enough to snow. However, my thermometer that's built into the car says it's 34 degrees. So it's one of those temperatures where it's just cold enough to snow and stick a little bit, but not to do a whole lot more than that. And right now, I'm going along the Seneca Golf Course down Pee Wee Reese Road. And I want to go through Cherokee Park. So I figured that would probably be an area that looks nice when there's snow. Alright, and that's up ahead. That was also part of the Seneca Golf Course. And I won't record a super long video. I'll just go, through the park. I think I recorded one video on one of the e-bikes before where I went through on an e-bike through the park when it had snowed. I don't think it was actively snowing when I was out. I think it just snowed previously. And this stuff is going to be all sloppy and wet and gross, so I probably won't take one of the bikes through. Because before, it was when it was in January, February, and it was actually still pretty cold, so stuff was still frozen over, and it was mostly all just snow, and things were relatively dry. And in Louisville, Kentucky, we don't get a ton of snow. It seems like when I was a kid growing up, you would get more. But I think for the most part, even then, I think you get some stuff like this where early in the season, you'll get some, kind of light snow with a light accumulation that doesn't impact travel or anything too much. And then it seems like we'll get in January or February like a decent sized snow about once a year. That's what it seems like in recent years. In recent years, around Christmas time, it's usually pretty warm. Not a lot of snow around Christmas. There has been occasions, but it's been a while since I can remember it actually being, cold on Christmas. Which, when I like to go for bike rides and do stuff outdoors, so that's fine by me, but I'm sure kids miss having it snow on Christmas. So the park is not, doesn't have that many people in it. If this was a normal Saturday, I mean, it's moderately early. It's 9:25 a.m., but you know, if you're here on a regular weekend when the weather was good, you know, instead of being 30, well, now it says 32. Instead of being 32, if it was, you know, 62, 72, you would have way more people through here doing stuff. As is, there's just a handful of people coming through. I'm recording this on the GoPro Hero 11 Mini. I have just a head mount. So I have just a mount that's just like a headband where the GoPro goes on. And since this camera's a lot lighter and smaller, it's not as distracting as it is trying to wear some of the larger GoPros. Now, I don't know how great the audio is on this, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe there's some type of run event or something. There was a tent back there and some different people, and it looked like they had things of water or Gatorade or something. So going through Cherokee Park, and then up here to the right will be the Cherokee Park golf course. There's just golf courses all around in these areas. And then to the left, I believe that's Cochrane Hill. So when you actually get sizable snows, this is where everybody comes to sled. I mean, they sled in other places too, but this is one of the pretty prominent ones. And there's still a lot of trees that are, you know, fall colors, you know, orange and red. So it is kind of nice seeing the snow in addition to some of the fall colors. And, you know, again, I'm not on one of the bikes. Honestly, I would, you know, in terms of riding one of the bikes out in this type of weather, I would rather it be a little bit cool, or a little, actually just like a few, you know, a few degrees colder, so stuff is legitimately freezing over, versus being kind of the wet, sloppy snow. Because that way at least you're not getting as, you know, completely wet. And again, it doesn't look like there's too many people in the park. This GoPro Hero 11 Mini, I'm liking it so far. I know I've seen some people complain about the standard GoPro Hero 11s about overheating, but you know, when I've used this thing so far, it's been, well, here in the car, the heater's on, so it might not be as cool as when I've gone on bike rides or something and tested it. Because in those cases, it was, you know, relatively cool. The wind was blowing the entire time, so I don't think it would overheat. But, well, there's construction equipment. to the right, there are basketball courts and a picnic area. I'll be wrapping up here in a minute. It is always very, usually very visually appealing to go through a nice park when it's snowing. And this is no exception. I mean, the ground's not completely covered, but there is surprisingly more snow than I was expecting. Because I know that they had said the forecast included snow, but I didn't really expect there to be, this amount. I figured it'd be less. And all the trees are mostly bare down through here, so you can see more of the terrain than you could just a couple of weeks ago. And two, if you're wondering, I'm driving a Toyota Corolla hybrid. Hopefully it's been relatively quiet. So this is a complete loop. I'm back to where I was earlier. So I've gone through Cherokee Park when it's snowing and some of the surrounding areas. But yeah, that'll wrap it up till next time. Later.